Welcome to the Garage U Tools. For the next 3 hours or thereabouts, we will do our best to imitate all of our favorite podcasts.
That was pretty good there. I like that.
I came out of nowhere. I was like, cool, just back pocket found that. Let's use it. Go.
And I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Classic.
Uh-huh.
That's just a sip of my water there. Neil, how are you doing? Episode 41 of the Strength Hammer podcast.
I'm feeling defeated.
Defeated. Is it because this podcast is coming at your ears with irresistible force?
That's not the case.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'll get into why in a bit after we tell these fine people just what this podcast is about.
Well, I almost went into like the Chaos at Work Superstore and just started doing like those bits, but yeah. So today on the Strength Hammer podcast, this is technically our Christmas episode,
Oh,
which is
oh,
which is super fun. Um, but we also just came off of the Tayrathi Classic 2022, and it was one of the best events I've ever been a part of. just from the standpoint of the location and the people.
hmm
I mean that always makes or breaks the event. So yeah, we'll be talking a lot about that tonight. From our experiences both as players and I guess mine as TO, and then Neil will introduce you all to a very dangerous game that we played. But yeah, before we do though, let's do a little bit of the fitness check-in. Neil, you feeling okay? Everything all right?
Everything's good.
Good.
Yeah, nothing's changed since the last time we. Was that even only a week ago?
That was only a week ago. Last week we were recording this, and I was so
Oh,
excited.
I take it back. I've done 3 pull-ups
Ooh, oh yes,
since
that's true.
last week. So, hey, we're on the right track here. So that's 3 more pull-ups than I did the week prior. So trending up.
There you go. It's for next week.
hmm
Well,
hmm
it's Christmas. We'll give you a break. That's fair. My fitness, I continued to do that 5 day a week program that I wrote with Alex. Um, Actually, he was supposed to release the next part of it today, but he's also feeling under the weather, so I could understand if he got off track as he's recovering from that. Yeah, he didn't post that, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, that program's going well, and with Alex being sick, I had to just go and tackle it myself because I committed to it, and it was kind of like I needed Alex to help get me back to the 5 days a week and help push me, but like it took 2 weeks and I'm back on like just enjoying the 5 day a week type program, even though I'm by myself and I'm pushing myself. So it's kind of like, sometimes you need that little kick in the butt from your friends, and he definitely helped. I look forward to him being well and back. But yeah, that program's going well. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm loving it. I am also eating way too many cookies. There
I
is,
have probably have something to do with that actually this past
well,
weekend.
I don't. That weekend was kind of like a celebration, so it's
You don't count.
well, not that doesn't count, always counts, but I was being lenient with myself on it. But I just meant my sister, my niece, made chocolate chip M&M cookies, and I'm housing them.
Sleeve at a time. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, well,
hmm
it's just a giant Tupperware thing full of it, and
hmm
and all of a sudden they're gone. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I'll need more.
Suddenly you can't feel your feet and you're getting an amputation.
No, no. That escalated very quickly. No, but
Oh,
also
that's just me, huh?
it's just you. Also, I'm not really on a cut. I guess I'm on a slight bulk. Not that I'm putting the best types of calories in my body, but I'm not stressing too much about it. It's always bulk in winter, right? Yeah.
Always bulk in the winter. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like a plan.
There you go. But yeah, no, that's going well. Hobby besides the event, mine's very simple. Um, I decided to repaint the base rims of all my Age of Sigmar armies that were brown. And I've seen people post probably like ask questions like why who cares? And it's like I don't care. Like brown is fine. You paint your base color however you want. But I had about half my armies with black rims because the scheme matched it better, or I had the army commissioned, and then the other half was brown, which is what I typically do. But
Mhm.
with all the things like universal endless spells and that sort of crap, and like obviously those aren't going away, they're going to be around for a long time. I was tired of when I wanted to use them having to repaint the base rims depending on which army I took. So I said, you know what, just bite the bullet. It's something that's been in my mind for a while. Just finally had the time to do it, just to repaint everything. That's brown to black. I'm on the last army now, which is the Daughters of Cain. But this my whole week. That's literally been my hobby, just painting base rims, and it's mind numbing.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's but hey, whatever. I'll be happy when it's done. Did you
Mhm.
get any potential hobby in, Neil?
No, I haven't. No, actually, no. I take it back. We did a little hobby chat the other night,
Oh, that's
and
right. That's
I
right.
was painting up another Warhammer Fantasy High Elf Prince on Griffin. So, um,
Yeah,
wasn't probably forgot about it because I screwed it up at the end, and I got a little pissed and just put it down and haven't touched it since. So,
it's
um,
gonna
but
happen.
my son built a little the Hulk. He just received the Hulk in a Christmas present for
Oh,
Marvel Crisis Protocol. So he was very pleased to come upstairs and show me what he had done, how he had finished him up and everything, and how he just had the base left to put back on. And so he's love to see him excited about building models. So he is 8 years old, and so we're starting him a little bit light on the Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we'll move him into some Warhammer as he maybe another 2 3 years.
yeah, that's fair, and yeah, that's a good game to bring them into. I mean, superheroes can't go wrong, really, right?
Absolutely.
Do you know how to play the game?
We have played one singular
Okay.
game, and I think I have the gist of it, but I'm sure as far as the actual like an actual playthrough, me and my son are just really about just kind of using the superhero abilities and just trying to,
Yeah.
you know, fight each other, and that's good enough for us for right now.
Ah, there you go. Perfect. That's great. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, sounds like your son's having the most interesting hobby among us right now. He's the most successful. Kudos to him.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, let's just go right into the. Well, no, we should save the meat for the end. Like, because like I know you mentioned before, there was a Warhammer community article yesterday about a preview of the new General's Handbook Season 2 for 2022-2023,
Mhm.
and I don't know what is fully in it because we only saw like a small snapshot, but it definitely seems to be that infantry, non-unique, non-named heroes is the theme of this book. And tell you what, as a Daughters of Cain player, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am excited as well as a corn player. Now I don't know how actually much this helps, but I have been banging on this drum for years that they need to do more to protect and make valuable these single walking around characters that are just taking cannonballs to the faces, and they're removed in turn one, and there's no reason to really bring them and all the rest of that. So I'm very happy to see this change. I'm happy to see Galatian veterans go the way of the dinosaur. I wonder. I think there's some kind of, if I was reading the article correctly, there's like a sniping option out there somewhere. They didn't really go into it in the article though.
Well, I mean,
It was more in the
yeah,
video.
yeah,
I don't love that.
I think it kind of ties in where you have sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Like in this last one, you had Galatian veterans and you had bounty hunters. Okay, one's
Right,
supposed to counter the other a little bit, but that one was
right.
way off scale. So maybe this one be.
Hopefully, it'll be more in line. But the cynic in me is just like, why would you give them this protection, then immediately take it away? I'm like, like, how does my 6 wound, 5 wound hero now survive? I don't know. But,
Yeah.
I'll wait to reserve judgment until I see the entire thing. But I am cautiously optimistic about it. And, I'm not. Yeah, one of the things about the new general's handbooks in 3.0 that I'm not loving is these type of things that are changing the root rules of the game a little bit. Um, but they're not going away. I can tell
Mm,
that.
right.
So if they're not going away, then this is a pretty good step in the right direction. So
No, it's. I mean, yeah, like I'm not. I don't like the current General's Handbook. Missions aside, some of the missions are fine. Some are
yeah, I,
meh.
I don't
Like
mind
it's.
changes to
I don't.
missions and stuff like that.
I don't mind. Like I know people complain about missions or these ones are the most competitive, and I get that for that sort of reason. But like I don't care. Whatever missions there are, I'll make do and I'll have a good time. But like this is already a complicated addition with rules layers. Like
Hmm.
now, if this sort of stuff was maybe in second somehow, then maybe it'd been more interesting because there wasn't as many layers onto that one. But like I said, it's I don't mind these changes.
Hmm.
But the thing I always run into is okay, we had Glacian veterans and bounty hunters. Let's we don't know. Let's assume that's changing the next one and they're gone. Okay,
Hmm.
everyone's happy because like I remember there was even a chat group where someone mentioned says, "What are people gonna do without bounty hunters?" And my response was, "Live a happy fucking existence."
Right.
Like seriously, it's stupid. Um,
Yeah.
but like like sure, you get a bad one, whatever, but it's gone within so many months. You just muddle through it. But what
Yeah.
happens if you get something great? What if this is
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
fantastic and a lot of people are like, this is awesome, and then the new General's Handbook comes out and it goes away? It's like, well, I want the fun again. Like, and what if the next one's not
Right.
as fun? It could be more fun, or it's that's where I think there's going to be interesting things. I did listen to Warhammer Weekly today, and he mentioned too how like a lot of this stuff is probably like playtesting for stuff they might put in fourth edition. So it's like, I guess
Yeah.
that too. So
Yeah.
if something's good,
And
let's
honestly, if that's the case, then I'm all for it, right? I'm like I love the attacking in, two ranks, so to speak. I'm kind of sad to see that go away. But you know,
well,
uh,
did they say that's being taken out? That might still be there.
I think that's
Is it a
the
glitch?
Galatian veterans. I
Oh, it's a
think
veteran.
that's
Okay.
I think it
Well,
is.
it doesn't mean they can't still put it back in somehow. Like we don't know everything that's in or out. We only know like the few things that they have in right now. So, like I said, we have to
Mhm.
reserve all judgment and all that sort of stuff till we do actually see it. So hopefully it won't be
Yeah.
too much longer. January, I think, is when we should get it.
Yeah.
I imagine, it'd be great if it went on sale pre-order the first week, first
Right when
weekend.
I have no more money left. Yeah. For
Well,
Christmas.
I'm thinking because of Brewhammer. I
Oh
wanted to
yes.
be out before the Brewhammer cut off
Yeah, that would
because
be nice. That would be
yeah,
super nice, especially with the list that I'm building for Brewhammer. So um, it would work out very well.
yeah.
So
I would
here's
enjoy.
the hope.
Yeah, be so happy.
Yeah.
Instead of because if Brewhammer and like I said, Brewhammer has their rules. I'm not knocking them or I'm not trying to like sway that opinion. They have their event. Do what you want. You're the TO. I'm gonna come play and have a great time regardless. But
Yeah.
if bounty hunters and stuff still in, I'm just gonna bring a Kraith list and just have fun losing every game. But
Yeah.
if that's gone, then I'm like, ooh, well now I can actually field the army, half of the army I love and apparently no one else loves, for Daughters of Cain and try to win a few games. I'm not saying I'm gonna go compete and win, but like
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Marathi and the Bow Snakes as a playstyle.
Hmm.
So like I said, it's good. I've watched the top players in the United States run it. I've literally watched their entire games in mirror match, single matches, and it's masterful and how it works. And
Hmm.
like it's not the hardest list, but like watching them use that army in hard situations, it's like I know how to play it. I just I hate playing it. I've tried it a few times. I'm just like this. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even from like an NPE thing. It just doesn't fit who I am. So
Hmm. Yeah. I'm still waiting for that one of those play styles to pop up for me, and I think it hasn't been there since first edition. So
hey, you know what? You
first
got
edition corn. That was my jam.
there was there was a play style for you, and you got to experience it this weekend. So let's just segue right into that because I don't think there's really anything else to
Hmm.
elaborate on. I mean, next week we'll talk about the wonderful Christmas hobby gifts we may or may not be receiving, thanks to our lovely parents and wives, and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
But yes, the Tayrathi Classic 2022 is in the books with Tom Schubert, Ogres taking the event win,
Hmm.
and then listen, me and Mark. Mark, who was our host for the event at the house in the barn. Um, he got the best narrative. I got the runner-up best narrative. You got the coveted coolest award.
Yeah. Yes, it did. Second time in 3 years,
There you go.
actually.
Yep, yep. And this was a council vote too. Um,
Hmm.
and then Alex got friend or honorary member of Tarathian Cult for the most kill points from his narrative named Hero, which I loved his narrative. It was all about soulness and being an elf. And then, of course, the lovable Matt Hayward got the favorite opponent. And he also, because the belt and brick changes here to my discretion, he also got the championship belt for the year. And Cole got the brick. So Big M's Power
Second
Hour,
time in 3 years.
yeah, Big M's Power Hour has both the exemplary awards.
Hmm.
So, like I said, like I told them, the next podcast they're on is going to be insufferable.
I felt Cole getting the brick and moving to Ohio was, I feel like there was little angst there. I felt like that was preordained,
Uh,
you
it's
know.
it's your future. Look into it. No, it's fun. And like I said, I already started working on the pack and stuff for next year. I don't know what the game system will be. I can promise you it's either going to be Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40K, or Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Perfect.
It will always be one of those for sure. So
So, somewhere Hayward's heart just broke about whatever the hell that game he was trying to get us to play was.
yeah, Conquest,
Uh,
no,
Conquest. There it is. Yep.
nope,
Hmm.
no, no, no. He can start his own invitational for Conquest and invite us, and we'll show up with Fantasy Battles and be like, okay, just
I'm
ignore
sure
him.
he'd love Middle Earth to rear its ugly head as well, but
It could. It mentioned it, and I mean I'm fine with that game. I think it's a great game. Actually, this Wednesday, I think Matt has off because he had PTO to burn, and we're gonna spend like all day over at the barn, um, and we're going to be playing Middle Earth and watching Lord of the Rings.
nice.
Yeah, because it should be fun. I think.
That'll be a terrible time.
What's that?
I said that'll be a terrible time with all the sarcasm I can muster. That's
Yeah, it's like I said, it'll be kind of like our New Year's gathering too, I guess, for that crew. But it should be fun. Matt has to teach us all the rules, so
Mhm.
which will be fun.
Yep.
But anyway, Tayrathi. So you were part of the pregame. There's a small group of us that were part of the pregame. On Friday evening, you drove in. So
Yep.
let's start with your experience as the non-biased player at the event, doing your thing. Tell us,
Do you
tell
want my
yeah,
my overall, or do you want my
yeah. Let's start top high level, and then we'll work down, and we'll talk about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you can talk about the games at whatever length we wish.
overall? If it wasn't my favorite event I've ever been to, it was at least top three. I'd have to say.
Ooh, podiums. All
Um,
right.
yeah, I would say. I mean, the from the venue, the barn is just amazing. It is a shrine to wargaming. It is, and everything that is amazing about wargaming, and that the best thing about wargaming is, of course, when you get to play with really solid people,
Yep.
and when you have that many of them enclosed in an event atmosphere like was there. I mean, we had a kitchen in there where we were making delicious food, a stocked bar. The alcohol was flying around left and right. There plenty of room for tables and a table that comes down from the ceiling that is actually 3 4 by 6 tables
Yep.
with lights on it. And oh my god, I'm like, all it was missing was like chariots of fire playing in the background as it
Oh,
comes down.
we could have turned that
So
on because we had the surround sound
you,
system in there.
you
So
should probably do it next time, honestly. So, uh,
yeah, and
but
that
it
nice
was,
little lounge area, all the miniatures
yeah,
just
the
on
lounge area with
display.
with a giant TV and everything, horses below the main level. I mean, the dogs running around. I mean, you couldn't beat a Christmas tree
Yep.
and gifts under the Christmas tree as
Yep.
well.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, God, am I leaving anything out? I don't know. Just like,
Yeah, all the food that Brandon made
yeah,
us.
yeah. Oh, the delicious. We had curry. We had Cuban sandwiches. Oh my God, so good.
And then we had leftover lamb and chili that one night, the
Oh
Friday
yes,
night.
yes, 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 yeah. That was Friday night. Yeah,
Yep.
God, it got me forgetting about that already.
And then oh yeah,
And
even
then
cold cuts watching the World Cup.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What a weekend that was. Is Man, just a great venue. I mean, um, I was talking about this, and I feel bad for other people who are not ever going to be able to see this outside of. Hopefully, you put a lot of pictures up on Twitter of it.
I did, and
But
I'm gonna
really,
put up a blog post at strengthhammer.net in the
yeah.
next week or
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah, go
Yeah.
go take a look at it because it was a pretty. I'm now like I have a new life goal, and that is to emulate that somewhere here in Ohio at some stage of my life. So it's that good. So
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I'm very blessed to know every single person there, and that Mark, who's our gracious host, is just loves this hobby and connecting with people so much that he kind of one like that the barn like he treats it as our place. It even though he owns it, he's like this is the Barn Owl's place, our club. But he also graciously opened beds in his house for us to sleep in too. So
mhm.
like we were, which is
Yep,
right across the street from the barn. It's like all in his property. So uh,
yep,
yeah, and then snowing. There's so much
yeah,
goodness.
picturesque. Man. It was. It is really good. It's an experience I'm never going to forget. That's for sure.
Well, it's
So
experience you'll have again. So, because
here's to hoping.
because that,
Uh,
that that venue's not changing.
mhm,
But yeah, so Friday, you Mark definitely encouraged everybody to drive in early because inclement weather was supposed to happen Friday.
mhm,
So I know I was over there. Dave drove in, you drove in, and
mhm.
Matt drove in, and we had a few others. I don't think trying to think who else stopped over. Obviously, Mark was there. Oh, Brad came, and Quentin was there.
Mhm.
Who else am I forgetting?
And we had a pretty good
Oh,
showing. Tom was there. Say
Bobby.
Tom.
Yeah, Bobby, Tom. Yeah, there's a pretty decent amount, and the whole thing was just kind of eating leftover food, chatting, and having a few drinks.
Hmm. I did get a game in that night. I played
Oh,
Mark's
that's right.
Bretonians,
That's
and
right.
I was promptly routed from the field in I think maybe three turns. I had been tabled three or four, so was not looking good. That was a practice game to try and flush out my lists. I will say in my defense that I left 100 points of my army on my display board, not even realizing it. Two eagles just sitting up on a mountain.
Yeah,
That
that
probably could have helped redirect some
uh,
charges, but
those are pretty useful against the charging army. That's for sure. 'Cause, yeah,
yeah, yeah, they sure are. Especially when you have Pegasus knights flying over top of your lines and doing all sorts of stupid shit. But yeah, so I took it on the chin there and was very happy not to have drawn him for the first game because that was a grudge match that I had. But let me know if you want me to just get right into it. But
yeah. No, like I said, my Friday night was just kind of getting the last little prep done and just watching people do some practice games. And just people just having a good time and like I said, trying to like not overdrink the first night, saving that for the
yeah,
Saturday. But yeah,
yeah,
let's jump in. We all crash. We wake up the next day. Weather didn't really happen. We're all there bright and early. Um,
hmm, pound espresso in the morning.
Espresso and made some scrambled from literally eggs from his chickens. So they're farm fresh eggs.
Uh-huh.
Had some nice little breakfast. We all got over there and round one began. And yeah, there was grudge matches which we went through. So why don't you
Mhm.
tell us about your game one?
My game was against Cole. This was Cole's first official game of
Oh,
Warhammer
wait,
Fantasy.
wait, 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 wait. Before that happened, what did Tayrathi give everybody?
Oh,
Because I'm proud.
Tayrathi gave a little present to everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
we got pocket knives, rather sizable pocket knives, by the way, with Tayrathi Classic engraved right onto it. So
Mm-hmm.
very nice, and thank you very much once again. That was really cool.
Yes, thank you, Tayrathi. That was wonderful. Uh, yeah, legitimately though, like I'm shocked off Amazon that these came in so nice because I was like, we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Mhm.
I have it here on my desk. It's like it's not a trophy, but I feel like it's a trophy.
Right, yeah, right. Mine's right behind me right now. In fact, we were over my parents this weekend. We are opening gifts, and of course, lots of boxes and everything.
Hmm.
And I'd left it at home. And my son's like, "Dad, where's your knife?" And I was just
Ah,
like, forgot it.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, no, it's I put it in my pocket when I go around too. Like, yeah, it's sharp too.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
this, I don't see the words "made in China" anywhere on it. So actually,
Wow.
yeah,
They're
but
hiding it well then.
or maybe it's actually made somewhere else. But we'll see. I'll look later. But anyway,
Mhm.
game one. Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah. So Cole, first official game of Warhammer Fantasy. He had chosen to run Mark's Orcs and Goblins.
No, no,
Two
Mark's Goblins.
Mark's goblins. Yes, there were no orcs in the army. There was no goblin war boss with the crown of command, which is
Mm-hmm.
what you need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And,
Yep. Yep.
he did not know the combos. And when as I sat down with him, he's like, if I wanted to win this event, I would have taken wood elves or something and then studied up on them. He's like, I'm just here to have a good time. Now that being said, I don't think he was prepared for just how bad of an army he was about to play.
Yeah.
So he hit my high elf army and realized what when you fear the entire army that somebody else has, things usually don't go the right way. And plus, there's a couple people who have played fantasy before
Yep.
in this event. It was very much a learning. Let's just take whatever list. Let's not take any like hard lists. All the lists have been out there for years. We know what they are, but none of those were being played, and
Right.
so most people didn't have an idea of what fantasy was, and they were just kind of getting started. Now, people like me, I've played over the years. Now, I haven't played recently at all, and I really haven't played much at eighth at all either. So this was a little bit of a learning of eighth. But that being said, I know a little bit about the strategies and what to do and how to angle people's charges and this kind of thing to try and get flank charges and this and that. You wouldn't know that by my test game, but yeah, so it went predictably very, very bad for Cole, and I had tabled him off about turn three. I want to say bottom of turn three. That was pretty much in the banks. So
That's that is entirely fair, and it looked like I don't know, it looked like you were having fun though. Like that's
oh yeah, yeah,
and to be fair, this was when Cole was still going like I can win a game and I can not be last place. Uh,
yeah.
spoilers. Um, so my first game was against Dave because Dave got in. Now Cole has played Eighth Edition before, just a long time ago, and he was child brain, so who knows if he actually remembers it.
Mhm.
But Dave never played. I think he had one game in where you taught him how to play. With which one game you retain so much.
Right,
And
right.
he was using the ogres he was going to bring, which were on rounds. And I think, like I said, at the last minute, like with Cole saying, "Let me borrow this army," then Dave reached out to me. He's like, "Can I borrow your wood elves?" And I put together a list for him. I think everyone went like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't want to be the one guy there with round bases. That's not what this is about."
Right.
So I gave him a fun list. Had a dragon. Had archers, obviously, as you do. Had some melee, but it wasn't like it wasn't gonna kick people's teeth in. I could make that list. I have run that list, but I'm like, no, that's like I don't think Dave was coming for a point and delete type army for this type of thing. I wanted to give him all aspects of the game phases to play in because you're an elf, you usually can.
And let me say also about Dave. Dave was not very interested
He
in
was,
this game setting from
yeah.
the start. He was kind of talked into this, and a little bit of foreshadowing that changed throughout the course of the event.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he no interest. He never played it. Didn't care to go into it, and he was coming because it's the invitational and he wants to see the friends. So I get it. So we have our game, and I'm gonna be pretty honest here. I wasn't really holding back with my dark elves. I was like, I'm running this son of a bitch witch elf blog right up your ass, and we're gonna get it. I'm gonna try and do my big spell because I rolled a Black Horror, which is the level 6 spell for dark magic, and it's a strength test or slain. And I cast a big one. It was gonna go through his entire army, and I was like, boom, do this, win the game. Had a couple turns. Dave knows how to play. Move on, and
Mhm.
then failed charge, and then miscast or well, I miscast. I guess irresistible force. So the spell went off. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll still kill half your army. Maybe I'll lose my wizard. Maybe I won't. But then I rolled the miscast on to see how far the template would move, and I needed to, and it moves the artillery dice times your wizard level. I'm level 4, so I needed 4. I needed to move 16. So there's a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So as long as I didn't roll the 2, I was like, oh, I'm good, no problem. I roll a dice, it's a misfire. Oh no.
Mhm.
Yeah, it centers on your wizard and moves a random d6 inches, and it went back over my army. So didn't feel like I was still out of the game yet. I was like, okay, I still got this. But like then that spell just continued to wreak havoc in my back lines. For
A
another.
bold charge from a dragon into
Uh
the
huh.
flanks of your witch elves, I believe,
Yep.
too, right?
Yep. That's what ended it. Because I still had my that's what kept me alive. Like I still had my big witch elf block left, and like even though it was half dead, that's all I need. Like half the bodies are there to just take wounds until
Die.
like yeah, it's. But as soon as he got that nice flank charge in, 'cause I was doing a good job negating like some of his shooting and kind of he was getting in his own ways, learning stuff. But like as soon as his dragon got in that flank, and I failed my leadership with my BSB, and I was like, he just shook his hand like it's over, it's over. We rolled the dice. He caught me by 2 inches. It's done. But yeah, I tried, and the dice said, nope, you're not winning this one. But
Mhm.
Dave had a blast. Um, he got the gist of the game down. Also, this is we were finished half hour early, which we always make fun of Dave for being super slow. No, he wasn't really slow. It was the first round was kind of slow because like he's trying to absorb an army he hasn't played yet while I walk him through what to do. But still, no issues there. That's understandable. But yeah, done. Went into a nice, wonderful lunch of Cuban hand pressed Cuban sandwiches made with handmade bread.
Mhm.
Oh, that was wonderful. So good. I'm hungry now already. I had
Oh,
dinner and I'm thinking about this food and I want it again.
it was one of the better sandwiches I've had in my days.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And Brandon was he kept trying to project the compensation that we were throwing at him, but I just went and got him a gift certificate at Norm's Toy Soldier and just gave it to him. Like,
Nice,
you
nice.
can't turn this away. It has your name on it.
I
And the best part
love it.
was I didn't tell him this, but even Norm said, "Who's this for?" I was like, "Oh, it's for Brandon for cooking." We all threw money together. He's like, "I'm gonna throw some extra in here too because he fed me as well."
Uh, that's awesome.
So like he doesn't know it. It's actually more than what we got together, so he'll be fun. But yeah, that so boom, here we are, 12-man fantasy event running smooth. Everyone's had a great first round. Wonderful lunch. Round two, take it away.
So round two, because of my win and Dave's win, I draw Dave for the second
Oh,
game,
I
and so
love that.
we had
I
a
didn't have to. That wasn't me sitting in there. That is just what happened. I was like, yes.
so just always natural, and that Dave and I will play each other if the opportunity presents. But it was little wood elf versus dark elf, and then wood elves versus high elf. So we were trying to settle who were the best elves, and it turns out it is in fact the high elves, as it should be, as is good and proper. I did beat Dave in this game. It was very much a learning game for him on target selection, on how he should have moved some of his units and stuff. I think he learned a lot from his mistakes in that game. Um, we did spend some extra time just diving through the rules and everything. His one of his first mistakes was right off the bat. He had a unit of cavalry, and they were fast cavalry. They got a vanguard move.
Yep.
They got to move 12 inches forward off their first move, like before the game even starts, right? So they
Yep.
move forward, and he has them set right in front of my Sisters of Avelorn. Now these are very, very good archers,
Quick
and
to
now they're at
fire.
short range
Yeah. Quick.
before they even move, right? And so I just pointed him right at those cavalry and just said, "See you later," and just boom, right off the board.
Bye bye.
So he was basically playing a unit down from the very get go,
Which sucks
and it
because
was
that was the Glade, not Glade Guard, Glade Riders, and they had the arrows that was -3 to the
oh,
your
did they
armor
really?
save. Yeah, so whatever he shoot with those was going to die in your army 100%
Oh
unless you
yes,
had a
well I'm
ward.
glad I took care of those quickly
Oh
then.
yeah.
So, but he put them right in front of me, and I don't think he would choose to do that again. But anyway, like I said, a learning moment. It was still a very hard game for me. I don't think Dave would probably tell you that from being on the other end of it. But there were just like the kind of fun thing about Warhammer Fantasy is you start the game out and you have a plan, and then things happen, right?
Yeah,
And so and
then you roll like 3 dice and you're like, "Oh my
right.
god."
So what is going on here? Like you're chasing people down. Units are reforming. This is happening. You're overrunning into somebody else, and before you know it, your lines are a mess. And so I had some nail biting moments in there that very much could have um, gone an incorrect way for me. So
Right.
I did learn a little bit about wood elf shooting and what needs to die first in that game as well, which is basically all the things that shoot have to die.
Which is most of the
So
army.
right.
Now,
So
here's my big question because it's one of my favorite flavor rules for Wood Elves, and he seemed to really enjoy it. Dave did on our game because it happens before the game begins. I'm gonna see if you remember to use it with you. Before the game begins, one of his lords or heroes can take a free shot and gets an automatic strength 4 hit on your general.
he did. He
Okay,
did,
he
and then
did.
he
Okay,
failed to wound.
which you
Yes.
always fail to wound. It's always
Yeah.
like that. But it's just so fun to do it because immediately it can put people on tilt immediately, and you're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
I
Oh
shot an
yeah.
arrow at your face. I'm a wood elf. Okay, good. I'm glad he
Yeah.
remembered
From
that one.
from across the board, even. Yeah.
Yep, no
So.
range, just boom. Well, maybe there's a range, but it's ridiculous. But
hmm But yeah, he did remember that. I did get the win there. So what was your game two?
my game two was against Brandon, who was our chef, and he wasn't going to actually play in this event. But we had a last minute drop due to a work situation. So I threw together a high elf list out of a high elf army. Mark had it wasn't the best, but also like Brandon, he's a fine wargamer. He's I was like, hey, you're ringing, which means you're playing it,
Right.
and he's like, okay. But we stationed him at the table that was in the kitchen because he was also the cook. And if you were playing him, you know, have patience. You know what I mean? Like it was like he's focusing on the food first, game second, and everyone was like, that's fine. Thankfully, I played him the second game. Uh, so we were cleaning up the food. Like we just took our time. Like we did stuff in the kitchen, made sure it was all nice and neat. I pretty much deployed both the armies, and then when we reached point, it's like, okay, let's play the game now. Um, which even though he didn't have like the most impressive lists, like it was still a lot of bodies and huge blocks to get through. Um, and once again, I rolled really well on my spell choice, so I got the Black Horror once again,
Mhm.
and yet again, I managed to cast it, and it. I think I didn't miss fire on this one, but I did miss. I did ears before, so I took some more wounds. I wasn't trying to; it just happened. Um, and then I rolled that 2, and we were on the long table deployment for this mission. So it went 8 inches directly in front of my entire army that wanted to charge the next round. Now Brandon, he's a good war gamer. He doesn't know this. He knows this game system enough through osmosis, and like he can play it. But he looked at the giant ball of death right in front of my army, and his second turn, he's like, "I'm not moving." And I was like, ah. And so as you do, the spell in the magic phase went right back on top of me,
Mhm.
started hurting me. Thankfully, my bolt thrower and my hydra, that lovely gift of a hydra you gave me,
Yeah.
I got it. I actually, it's funny because like I brought over like my basing material. Like I had the base, I painted the base rim the color. I brought over like basing material in like a dime bag, like it's like a druggie. But glued it to the base, got the basing on, was able to use it for the event. I was so excited. It was great. Uh, yeah, between those two things, they saved the rest of my army because literally my witch elf horde just made it halfway into the table and just died because of my own stupidity. But uh, due to the Hydra and the shooting, I was able to cause enough panics because of a terror and just do a good shooting to actually make him. And then he just kind of failed his leadership tests down the line.
Oof, goodness, with elves, that's hard to do.
It is, but like he was rolling 11s and 12s, and it's like, ugh. But managed to take the win there, despite trying to kill myself as hard as possible. So I'll take it. And then yeah, they
Mhm.
said it's on to round three, which wouldn't you believe it? Round three, Neil. Do you want to take this one?
I think I will.
Yeah.
With Chuck's win,
Uh-huh.
um, I now got the second type of elves outside of mine. So now it was high elves versus dark elves here for a second turn for Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
First time for my army. So again, we had to decide. With the loss that the last high elf army had taken, I had to avenge them. Right. So we played this game.
Uh-huh.
Very interesting game. The way it all shook out.
Yeah, a lot of like
Honestly,
wasn't expecting this to happen.
big swings,
Yeah.
and close moments. Chuck, you got the first turn, correct?
I did, I did. Also let's not forget the spells. I once again
Yeah.
got the Black Horror spell.
Uh-huh.
And I keep playing elves. I'm just like, this strength 3 slain thing is pretty great. Let's try it again. But yeah, please, please.
Yeah. So, your turn one, you charged a Hydra directly into a unit of 15 white lions. How'd that work out for you?
Not good. I don't know why in my brain I did that, and I was just like, oh, I get to attack. Like, no, I don't get to attack first. I have crap leadership. I don't have always strikes first. Like we
Right.
swing at initiative, so I'm like, that's probably what was in my mind. Like, oh, we get to swing at initiative. It's like, yeah, but an elf's initiative is still higher than Hydra's, and
Mhm.
bad mistake, bad mistake.
Yeah. I thought some really good play by you with position of your level 4 mage and that unit of archers. And as I was trying to move up after I killed that Hydra to go and attack and charge her,
Hmm.
positioning behind some terrain where I couldn't get a charge off that direction, had to go into some black guard, which I learned are a higher initiative than my elves. Didn't
Yeah,
expect that. So,
yeah. I mean,
I took that one on the chin with some sword masters right there.
I'm gonna
But
be very honest with the Blackguard. I didn't, except I never really played Dark Elves too much. They are
mhm,
amazing. And I had
yeah,
17 of them. Absolutely champions from the entire event as far as like every game they performed, even when I was
yeah.
being dumb. Yeah, please.
I don't know if we were both playing this way. I know I was still playing this way. I was playing with supporting attacks counting as the number that they get on their base profile, and that was something that I learned that was a no-no. They
I
just get one in the second rank, so I can't remember if we were still playing this way in that game
No,
or
we
what.
we weren't because I learned that lesson like a week before I caught it. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, but
So that
I'm probably the one that stopped you. Was just like, no, no, hold on, this is how we do it, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was a learning moment for me there. But prior to all this happening, you also got a charge with some Doomfire Warlocks into Eltharion on turn one or turn two. Turn two.
Yeah, it was a turn two. I think I failed the first turn one. It
Yeah.
was bad. It was
I,
bad.
and yeah, so almost what you took two wounds off of him, but couldn't do that
Yeah,
third.
I was shocked because like I did that just to kind of hold him back and try and take away your inspiring presence for a round, or at least hold
Yeah.
you back for another round. I
Hmm.
I didn't realize that they were gonna actually do okay enough to do like I mean still like it
Yeah.
wasn't enough, but like I'm like, oh shoot, I almost killed Altharion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were what, strength four?
No, I think there's only strength
I don't know.
three.
Were they still 3?
Yeah, there's
Well,
still
that
three.
just probably came down to my, really shitty rolling. That's probably what it came down to. Because I had a 3 up save and a 5 plus ward. It's hard to
Yeah, yeah,
hard to
okay.
not pass some of those. But,
But there's also some good play. I mean, you obviously learned your lesson to take your eagles. So you
mhm,
were having some shenanigans with my giant witch elf block,
mhm.
keeping me
That
at
was
bay.
that was an old school, little strategy there with the Eagles that, now, well, I didn't play a lot of Warhammer Fantasy back in the day. I used to hang out on Uthuan.org, and I would watch
Oh yeah.
people put up their, like, their pictures of how the battle went,
Hmm.
the old school battle reports where all you got was pictures of where units moved.
And maybe arrows if
And,
they were
and I
fancy.
yeah, so I'd watch how they use these Eagles and everything, and so I'm like, I'm gonna try this out, see if this works. And so, um, make you force yourself into some reforms, and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, no,
um,
you played them perfectly, and then even your other one took out my bolt thrower. That
yep.
was harsh.
Which what?
And let's not forget, once again, Black Horror goes off.
Yes,
Where does it like to go?
huge,
Yeah, where's it like to go?
huge. I mean, it went right back into your army.
Yeah, and I had a great shot. It wasn't gonna kill all your army because you were spread out nicer, but I was gonna like, man, I could take out these white lines, clip some of those spearmen, which is a big block. Maybe it will bounce back and hit one of the sisters of Avalor. Maybe. Like I'm like, boom, no problem.
Uh,
Nope. Nope, let's not do
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
That was probably the turning point of the game right there, honestly, and that's probably what did it. So
it didn't help my case, that's for sure. But
no.
for sure though, I'm glad that we got to get a game in. Um, I am falling in love with the Dark Elves in this game. I am a
Mm,
high elf player in that game. I still kind of see myself that way. But I gotta play Tayrathi, and plus there's already three high elf players. I don't think we wanted a fourth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It would have been a little bit much. It'd been a Warhammer High Elves instead of Warhammer Fantasy. So
Yeah. Now, and here's the thing too. Before we go into the Saturday Night Shenanigans, running essentially the witch elf block. So 33, 34 witch elves, the cauldron in the middle with a death hag on it, and then my death hag, which was Tayrathi, who's my battle standard bearer, also giving witch brew. So like, there's a lot of points in this unit, and like it's hard. You have to kind of babysit it, which is why I have the points and the heroes in it to babysit it. But
mhm,
I remember, and I got you saw it too, because like eventually I did get to attack you with the witch elves.
mhm.
And you just see me grab all these dice, and I just got the big smile on my face because like I'm falling in love with witch elves once again. Because it's
Yeah.
just what I want. I just want blender girls and like almost no protection unless you buy into it. Rolling tons of dice, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh hey, you're a high elf. I hate you. Let me re-roll all these, just like a cannon in Sigmar. Great,
Yeah.
wonderful. Let me re-roll my ones because I'm just that good of a killer. And like, oh, these are poisoned, which I wish we had in Sigmar. Oh my gosh, if witch elves are poisoned in Sigmar, that'd be amazing.
They haven't been good enough in each edition.
No, make them better. Um, but yeah, but like throughout these first couple games, I'm just like I am loving playing Dark Elves. Like to the point, like I added more right before the event. Sorceress on Black Dragon, 10 more dark dread spears, 10 more dark swords, bleak swords. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had units of 20. Like so I have a nice core if I want to run that. I'm like, man, never thought I'd be having too much dark elves in fantasy. But it's getting up there, and then graciously, I have some dark riders on the way too, which might actually arrive before the year's out for me to work on.
I think they should be arriving possibly tomorrow.
I hope
Actually,
not for the UPS driver because we're about to get an ice storm here tonight.
I think you're probably getting them tomorrow.
Well, as long as the weather holds, we'll see. I if we do, I'm diving right away into them because freak I love them. And like I just don't have them for the army. But yeah, it's big ice storm tomorrow, so we'll see what the
Yeah.
UPS drivers do.
I used to have the original, like, I don't know if we can call them original, but they were at least like fifth, sixth edition Dark Riders that were metal on top of, like, those cheesy horses with a smile.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh. I
It always looked like they were smiling, like it was the goofiest ass horse egg. But
I
uh,
I actually have one of those. It's in the Dark Elf army.
uh-huh,
It was like like a blister at Norm's shop. So it was just a blister of one. And so what I did
sure,
is I converted it to be a BSB on horse.
nice,
So I'm like,
nice.
but it's still different enough because these are the new Dark Riders that'll be. It's still fine to act as that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so derpy
Yeah, they
looking.
were they were pretty bad, pretty bad, pretty bad.
I also have the I have the sorceress on Cold One that has like the Madonna like food cups. They're just
Oh
like
yes,
somehow attached, and like it's the fat cold one, so it's just like goofy.
yeah. I still have that model actually. I think hanging down in the basement somewhere. If you want it, it's yours.
Oh no, I got
So
one. That's
like
more than
I
enough.
wouldn't use that thing for a paperweight. I I hated that model since the day I got it.
Oh, no, it's so silly.
That corny curved sword. Oh god,
Yeah,
everything
yep.
about it I can't stand.
Oh,
So
love it.
that's some classic old hammer there.
Yeah, so I'm 1-2. You're 3-0.
3-0. At this point I'm pushing for the ship.
Yeah, and this is only a
Go,
four
go
round
full ship.
event. Only a four
Yep.
round event. So like we're going into this night, and you're like, I'm on table one tomorrow.
Yeah.
You
Then this,
play?
by the way, I've been seriously playing. Like I've been playing in events now since probably 2016, right?
Yeah.
So it's been 8 years. I have never sniffed, no matter the size of the event, whether it's small, big, whatever. I've never sniffed being on the top table ever. So this is a first for me. I've never experienced it before, and as you heard from the awards, I did fly too close to the sun, but we'll get to that. So,
Yeah, I'm curious to hear about that last game. But the Saturday night, so we're having curry that Brandon made. We all had some great games. I feel like we were having beers throughout the day. No one was getting crazy throughout the day, but we were like time to let loose. Um, yeah, music's playing. We did the Secret Santa, which is the prize support, which was just gift wrapped, and everybody took stuff, and some people traded here and there for stuff they didn't have or what they thought
yep.
might be cooler. Because like I said, some things in there, I was like, like two people here might want this, but they could trade for it, and like like it was mostly about at this point. If you haven't had a chance to talk to everybody, this was your excuse to talk to everybody, which is like, you take this, you play this army. Um,
Right.
and that was like after that moment, like I was fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
because the event was going smooth. We were full and happy. We were drinking. I kept the knives a secret, and then the prize support gifts went out, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shoot, this is perfect. I don't want this to end.
Yeah.
But
I was.
thankfully, it went for another like 5 6 hours that night.
Yeah. I was so happy with how the event was going. Like, I didn't even keep any of my prize support. I just unloaded it on everybody
Well,
else.
didn't you keep the
Uh,
book, The Defenders?
I didn't keep the book. I gave it to Brandon.
Oh, okay.
So because I know he was playing the high elves, and I don't know if that was from choice or what, but he seemed interested. I gave him the book. So
There you go.
um, so because I know the gist of the story, although I haven't read into like the Black Library stuff too much. But I don't know. I was so thrilled with the event. I just wanted other people to take stuff home instead of me. So
No, it's good. I mean, we trying to think. It just turned into like Alex brought cigars, so we like a bunch of us were smoking cigars.
uh-huh.
And like I said, the barn's a smoke friendly place, so
Hmm.
we're nice warm inside. It's cold and snowy outside. We have our drinks.
Cigars and whiskey, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like peanut butter and jelly, baby. That's adult peanut butter and jelly.
Yep. Did anybody play a game afterwards? I don't think anyone else played games that
No,
night.
there was
There
one
was
more game. It was Mark was playing somebody.
no, Mark was playing
Who
Dave, but that was actually the game. That was their actual game. It
was
was
it?
yeah. They was just going
Oh,
slow.
it
Yeah.
was the next day where he got an extra game in
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
No, but yeah, that game was fun. Like we were crowding around just to get in their way
Uh-huh.
and cheering,
Yeah.
hooting, hollering. But like
Yeah. There's nothing better than like going into a game that Dave's playing that's taking forever and just start cheering like random rolls.
yeah.
That's the best. Yeah.
Uh,
That's twice now that's happened. It's been a great time.
oh, but what I want to get to, because I could talk just how great it was. I'll put pictures up. You can see how great it was. But I want to talk about this game that you brought to the table. This game
Oh boy.
called
I
Fours.
don't know if I should describe this game fully to the kids out there because it is a dangerous game, but let me just say this. It is a game of chance wherein you roll one die, um, and on a 4, you challenge somebody with whatever.
So
On a 4,
let's do an example here. Okay, Neil, I challenge you to chug your beer that you have, right? Or chug your coffee that you're drinking right now,
mhm,
and I roll that dice. What happens if I roll 1, 2, 5, or 6?
nothing.
Okay.
The dice goes back, somebody else can grab the dice, and the game moves on. Doesn't have to move on that very moment. Can next time the dice roll could be a year from now, but
Yep.
the dice moves on.
Now, what if I roll a 4?
If you roll a 4, I got to chug. I got to do whatever you ask. So in this case, you challenge the chug. I have to chug.
All right, and now,
There's no way out.
and what if I roll a 3?
And whatever you challenged, you have to do to yourself.
So I'd have to chug my coffee. Well, it's water right now, but I'd have to chug that.
Correct.
Now, the one thing that was very key is you're either in this game or you're not in this game.
Oh yeah.
And once you're
So
in, you're in. You can't leave. It
You're
seems
in
to be
for
like a
life.
seems like a life thing.
Yeah. You guys went a little hard. I don't think you understood how dangerous this game is.
Oh, I knew. I knew.
I think people have now realized after one night of it just how dangerous the game is.
So
So it has to be treated with respect.
it does. It does. But like, there's some things like, you know, like, all of us. I think all of us probably took like an extra shot or two. Like, we had to take a shot. I
Mhm.
had to finish like half a cigar in like 7 minutes or something, which was fine. Scars don't really hit me too hard, thankfully. So that was, like I
Mhm.
said, I didn't have any. Like, I just smell like smoke. Like, that wasn't like making me sick. Um,
Mhm.
but I honestly feel like I won fours that night for two reasons.
Oh, you 100% did actually.
Yeah, yeah. Because the first reason is, one, Alex looked at me at some point and he said, "At any time, I get to pick the program that him and I do for like a week." So like, he could be in the middle of like doing like a bodybuilding type thing, and I'm just like, "Hey, you, we're doing powerlifting, deadlifts, back squats, benching. That's it." And he has to do it. No, I'll probably be more sensible than that, but um, I'm gonna find a nice program. But I get to surprise on him at any time. So we'll see when that gets there. But then that's because like, he rolled a four to challenge me, he rolled a three, so my choice. But then uh we'll leave him anonymous, just for sake of don't want to embarrass him too much. But someone came up to me and said, "Chuck, you need to build and paint me a Tomb King's army." Didn't know he didn't There was no indication of point size. I did stop and said, "Can it be STL files? Because that's a really hard army to get." You know, kind of like, and the general agreement was, you can make it work however you want. So it's kind of like Tomb King's army, but you're building and painting it how, hook or crook, however you get it. So I'm like, okay. This gentleman rolls that dice. It's a three.
Good
And
God.
yeah, and what I will say is, this gentleman doesn't do anything half baked.
Right?
So he got a couple eBay lots, and I saw a picture of the first lot that came in, and looks like I'm getting a 100% GW Tomb King's army.
That's amazing.
That's it. Also, I'm going to treat it kind of like a general club army. Anyone can use it. Yada yada, that sort of stuff. Like, like, it'd be rude to be like, "Thanks, see you later. I'm gonna shove it in my basement and never see the light of day again." It's like, no, I'm gonna play it. Once it's done, I'm gonna play the crap out of it. But like, yeah, if anyone else wants to use it for anything, it's like, absolutely. But I'm
Well, I don't know if you should play it because classic Tomb King's rules are you miscast with that level 4 wizard who's your general, and that's your army, bud. That's
Hey, you know what?
that guy goes, the whole thing goes.
Hey, quick games are what I'm all about, baby.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I won fours that night, and I'm scared for the
Yeah,
future, but
yeah,
here we are.
yeah. Sunday morning, after copious amounts of whiskey, not hungover at all. This guy right here who's talking. So that's I discovered that kind of like how Bruce Willis what's that superhero movie where
Oh,
he's invulnerable,
Unbreakable?
unbreakable,
I
right?
think
He
it's
kind of
Unbreakable.
discovers that he's got a super. I discovered that my superpower is to drink lots of whiskey and not be hungover, which honestly is an amazing superpower. Not very useful for fighting crime, but useful for keeping me
Great for Warhammer events.
on two legs the next day. So
Yeah, I did well keeping hydration between my drinks, so I wasn't in a bad state either. I was tired because we were up till 2 in the morning, but yeah,
yeah.
there's some people had it a little worse than the rest of us, but that's just how it is. So once and we had some fresh baked donuts. It's a great little start.
Oh
Some more
yeah.
espresso. But
Uh-huh.
why don't you describe your game four? Because this was,
So,
and I know we weren't talking about the missions before, but for this one, we'll say what the mission is in case you're an eighth edition fantasy player. This mission was Watchtower, because I remember it being my favorite mission back in the day, but also forgetting the fact that there is a lot of rules for buildings. But once you have them, you have them. But it's
yeah.
still my favorite mission in the book.
and that did complicate our game somewhat
Yeah.
because we were not well versed in the building rules. So basically, I was playing the Gut Star. So I was also playing a gentleman who used to teach other people how to play fantasy.
He's the one that
So
taught me how to play
uh,
and kick ass.
so he's very well versed in the rules and
Oh,
very
hold on.
well versed in.
Before you
Go ahead.
continue, breaking news. Matt Hayward just bought Total Warhammer 3.
Yep, I saw that as
Looks
well.
so it looks like we're gonna get the campaign going with all of us. Sorry, please continue.
Yep, yep. So so we played and I he on turn two, he hit a long distance charge into the beef of my army with the gut star. So which
Yeah.
is it's just a giant Death Star of a ton of ogres with his lord in there, with his I don't know if his yeah, his BSB was in there
Yep.
too. It was going to be ugly. So
And
and it was,
to be
and
fair,
he overran, and he took out quite a sizable portion of my army
yeah,
with that gut star.
and
So
and the gut
um,
stars are very you can either handle it or you can't. There's no in between.
yeah,
There it's a rough
yeah.
army to play.
So yeah, so and I couldn't, and so my only hope was the unit that I won the turn. Was the person who put the first unit um into the tower. So I'm soaking up all sorts of damage. It's a unit of Lothern Sea Guard. I
Mhm.
get down to three left, and I'm like, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop out my three Sea Guard out of the tower, and then I'm going to put my unit of 30 spearmen in.
Yep.
And this is like my only hope
Yep.
is to try and hold this tower until the game ends, right? Which is actually pretty themey and everything else, right? So I do that. I march them into the tower. Now the problem is we found out after the game you cannot march into the tower.
Okay.
And now we played this way and we played through and we even looked it up and we didn't see it. We didn't find where it says you couldn't. So that's the way we played. Now that being said, it made for a very interesting game for that to have happened because it came down to the first turn where the game ends and you roll dice, and on a six the game's done. So we rolled that dice. I rolled that time, did not roll the six. It went another turn. Some things happened. He got
Mm-hmm.
some ogres into combat. My spearmen are whittling down and whittling down and whittling down. They make it through that turn without running away, and which we were playing it as I was having to roll my leadership on adjusted score. But apparently in the tower, which we didn't know, they're always steadfast in the tower as
Oh,
well, which means that
yeah.
you roll on their base leadership, right?
Right.
So we screwed that up as well, but it wouldn't have mattered. My guys were passing anyway. It
Now,
also made it a little bit more entertaining too.
now, real quick, the one
So
thing that I always screw up with towers, and I caught it in this one. If you lose the combat and you're the attacker, you back up 1 inch.
uh-huh.
You have to recharge each time, and every time you charge,
Yeah,
and you don't get a charge bonus, like you don't get the +1 for charging, you don't get any like strength bonuses for charging or anything like that.
yeah. So
Which,
we were
yeah,
not playing that way either. We did not recognize that, but again, it would not have changed too much. I don't think
fair.
any of the way the game would have progressed. So um, in that turn, they make it through the turn. There's another roll off. So now it goes down to a 5+. On a 5+, the game's over. I've won the game. We roll the dice. Doesn't go in my favor.
Oh,
At that point, I shook his hand because there was no way I was making it through another turn of with those elves in the tower, and
yeah,
so that was that. So it was actually, even though we made some mistakes on the rules, the game itself was a lot of fun. Once I found out how the rules were supposed to be played, that game was over in turn two, and I'd lost. Right, so.
right.
But at least we got to have a long game that was fun. It was intense throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in a way, I'm kind of glad it happened, and I'm glad he still won because he should have won.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's great. Yeah, like, it seemed like there was a lot of fun over there. And so once again, kudos to Tom for taking the event win. Solid
yep,
list, solid play.
yep.
I know we give you
Learned a
shit.
lot from him that game too. He's teaching me a lot of stuff that I
Yeah,
was screwing up. So,
Tom, I know we give you shit, but we love you, and you are the best fantasy player among us. It's been proven.
mhm.
Um, so my last game, I played Quentin. So it was actually a not a mirror match, but it was a Civil War, Dark Elves on Dark Elves. So I got to play every flavor of elves at this whole event, which was fun. Um, And wouldn't you know it, I walk up, I roll my 4 dice, and I go, boom, look at that. Black horror again. All right. I'm ready to be hurt one more time. So we have to roll off. He wins. Now, Quentin is newer to the game. He's gotten some practice games in for sure, but like I did like a random 500-point tournament months ago, and that's where kind of like this whole like interest thing really kicked in for them, and like that's where things sort of started changing, and that's why I decided to do the event this way. Um, but he really liked Dark Elves, so I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of did what I did to you, because I had so many extras. Like we finished a 500-point game. I'm like, cool, keep it. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, keep it. So I gave him his first bit of crack for fantasy, uh, and then he just took it from there and ran. Like he got the rest of the stuff. 2,000-point army. It's a nice, fairly balanced list too. It wasn't too far off mine, although I have like the witch elf, like battle bus essentially, whereas he went uh, more just uniformly diverse. And it was fun because he taught me how to use Doomfires correctly. I was not using them correctly. Uh, so that was enjoyable. But he won the roll off. So he put I think a unit of 15 bleak sword. It was one of the bleak sword or dread spears in the tower, and I'm like, okay. And I planned to take my blackguard, charge the tower while my witch elves just ran the other direction and hopefully just got in the way of everything behind them. And I was being smart. I kept my sorceress back, and I was going to use her to cast Black Horror and go hopefully in the right direction. And then also my shooting was back there, so I was like, okay, shooting and magic covers my right flank, Witch Elf Ward covers the left, Blackguard take the center. And I'll be damned if the plan didn't work. The
Nice, nice.
yeah, now it took an extra turn to do it because I failed like a 6-inch charge with my Blackguard, and they were in the way of my Witch
Yeah.
Elves. Thankfully, he had misplayed his Hydra and was taking it the far way around. Oh, I also had my Hydra on the far right flank, but it got taken off pretty easily. Uh,
Mm.
but um, when he, I think round 3 began, and got the Blackguard in, took the tower without issue, lost like maybe one guy because holy crap, Blackguard are great. And then the Witch Elves, I just let them run rampant. Like they failed their frenzy check twice throughout the last couple turns, but like it didn't matter. I'm like, they're just supposed to be there and just do that. Um,
Mhm.
I got Black Horror off on a miscast. Thankfully, the miscast didn't really hurt anything besides a couple um, uh, dark shards that were around that took a strength 10 hit and just exploded. Not to mention like the 3 I had to kill to get the spell off, and it turned
Right.
into a miscast. Um, but it went forward away from me and actually
That's
killed
nice
things, and it stayed
for a
over
tank.
there. Like it made up for everything this round because I pretty much killed everything on that side of that table that was coming across this river on my open flank that just had some shooting and magic in the way. And I
Mhm.
killed everything but like I think it was like 3, maybe 4 cold one knights.
Yeah.
But the spell was directly in front of them, so he couldn't charge through it because it would just eat it and die. So he spent a turn to move to the side, half his distance moving up. I was like, okay, that's a smart play. I understand that. Um, and to be fair, if those Cold War Knights got into either one of those units, it was going to take it off like without problem. Um,
Mhm.
so like my Witch Elves are running around back rampant. He had his Blackguard come in, or no, not Blackguard. My Witch Elves killed his Blackguard because we have the same initiative and I have more attacks. But he had his Executioners go in to try and take the tower, and Blackguard defeat Executioners because they're always striking first, whereas the Executioners
Yeah.
don't. But
Yeah.
wouldn't you be damned? It gets to the next phase, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Or no, he does his movement, so we get to the magic phase after that, and I'm like, okay, let's see where this black horror goes. I roll the random dice right over top of where he just moved to,
Oh boy.
and then it even like there was nothing around it, but it kept going towards his side for the rest of the game, so it felt good to actually see it go where it belonged. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah,
Is
we
that's the nice thing though about like Magic and Warhammer Fantasy, right? Like you can roll the 6 dice and you can almost guarantee that you're going to get it off, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's a miscast. So something potentially, I mean, almost always bad is going to happen if you do that.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go backwards into your lines, but there is that risk, right? And so, if you choose to roll the 6 dice and you miscast, well, here's this really powerful spell that if it all goes well, awesome. And if it doesn't, well,
No, it's a risk.
you roll the dice, right?
But it's but yeah, my and then like my witch elf block took out unit after unit, but to his credit, in the last combat, which was I had the cauldron on one wound, like three witch elves and Tayrathi, my BSB, on one wound left, and with his last like 10 dark shards, he actually was able to do those wounds, except for on Tayrathi. She made her save. So my entire witch elf block and cauldron died, but Tarathi stayed there firmly with the BSB and actually chased them off the table. But she stopped short. But it was a good win. It was a good win. Held on to the tower, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Like I said, 2-2. Can't be unhappy. Played every type of elf. Can't be unhappy. I mean, I I don't think we need even say that it's good games all around, because if you're the type of person that wouldn't give a good game, I wasn't going to invite you. So
Right.
no, it's
Absolutely.
yeah. Then we talked about the awards, and then uh we headed over to Norms after a little bit of cleanup and saying goodbye, and then we went over to the Googly in town, our little spot where we had some dinner before the everyone parted ways.
Hmm. Which is, I was going there one way or the other, whether anybody was with me or not.
Yep,
That is just my. It's become my tradition whenever I go up there. That the day I leave, that's the last thing I do. So
yep.
that's going to happen every time I go up there.
No,
So
that works for me. Just like I hope whenever we
whether
go,
anybody comes or not,
just like whenever we do our little thing in March, I hope we always go to that Mexican place.
right? We'll hit that up for Adepta won't.
Yeah,
So.
Adepta won't. um, but yeah, actually, absolutely great event. I can't wait for it next year. No matter what game system it is. But we should say, because we left this hanging before. There's a mini spoiler from Dave. So we finished this. What's Dave's next army, Neil?
His next army is Warhammer Fantasy 8th Edition Wood Elves.
Yes, it is. He's in.
And like this is the guy who, and to be fair, we both of us were like when we started Sigmar, like I left this game behind me.
Yeah,
It was
we all
done.
did. We all did.
I was off of that because I loved Age of Sigmar and still do.
Yes,
And and I wanted it desperately to be successful. I was not going to do this hem and haw and all this kind of stuff.
and
Um,
we were part of the reason
so
why I think it was
I was
successful. Yep,
all the way in. I didn't want to see a square base, right?
yep,
But like I said, it was time for a little pullback to some nostalgia, and I tried to convince Dave after all these years of just spitting vile at square bases, right? And try and get it to get old fantasy players to convert off of squares to circles to play the game the
yep, yep,
correct
yep.
way and all this kind of stuff. And he was still so very much into that locked mindset. And I'm happy to say I think it takes a lot to shift Dave's opinion. It really does on
Hmm.
anything.
And we we
So
we
it's
did it in 4 games.
yes. So I'm pretty proud of that achievement, really.
I think the biggest part of that was probably his game against Mark. It just looked
Yeah,
like I think they're just having so much fun that Dave wants that
good,
experience.
good,
Um,
good, good. Yeah.
Also, Cole, our buddy, the brick winner, he said he had some fancy, but he went off of it. All the circles, and then I would say you're preaching to the choir, because literally all my high elves, wood elves, and dark elves I put on circles when Sigmar happened,
Mhm.
and then
Yep.
once like those lines were mostly cut, or I pulled what I wanted from them for like the armies that I have, I reached a
Mhm.
point where I put them back on squares. So I rebased
Yeah.
those armies twice, but
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hero's work right there.
yep,
So that's why you have the medal. So
yeah, done doing that though. I have Sigmar armies and I have fantasy armies, and we're separate. We don't cross those
yes.
bridges anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cole is starting an Empire army.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think the only person from this event right now that doesn't have a fantasy army of his own, or won't in the near future, is potentially Brandon. Um, He's hard to because he doesn't paint quick. He's very slow, but he likes to do it himself. So we'll see if we can't get him into a fantasy army. He'll always play and he'll always borrow one, but
Uh-huh.
we'll see. We'll see. He's the last one I need to work on. Plus, the Barn Owls Club, they're not the biggest Sigmar fans. So I told them
Right.
my goal this year is to get them all so they all have 1,000 points Age of Sigmar army.
Yep.
So we'll see. I'm gonna be pushing this boulder up this hill again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you just have to set the next Tayrathi after they had such a good time with this one as Age of Sigmar, and do the same thing again.
Well, like I said, it's always gonna be Warhammer, whether it's Sigmar, um, Fantasy or 40K. So if I say Sigmar, yeah, like obviously everyone will get a Sigmar army together. There's no question there, and most of them aren't opposed to it. It's just they haven't taken the time. We tend to play the older games at this club, but I have had thoughts that if I do this next year for fantasy again, we might do the fantasy triumph and treachery, which
Oof.
is
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Um, it is 1,000 times better than the triumph and treachery they put out for Sigmar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just because like it was a full supplement. It wasn't just like a little thing in General's Handbook. I'm glad it
Hmm.
was there, but like it was just like, it's not the itch I wanted to scratch. Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to break the rules a little bit more. It's fun, and I thought too, maybe we'll do end times, but it's too soon for end times. It's too soon for end times. We got plenty of supplements to
Just,
get through.
just, yeah.
Storm of Mag or Storm,
Yeah.
yeah, Storm of Magic, yeah.
Yeah. Well, be careful too. If we do another Warhammer Fantasy for this event next year, then who knows? Maybe by the year after that, we'll get the full old world popping out. So
You never know.
it might be a lot of fantasy years in a row right there.
That
So
could be. That could be. Well, I could always do Horus Heresy, but then I think you guys would revolt at that point.
I don't know. I don't know. There's, oof, talking about me buying and painting a Space Marine. That has never happened, and
It's very
I
easy.
don't know if I have that in me. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, we didn't think we'd be here right now, so.
I'm Team Horse if I had to be.
Oh,
You
okay,
know.
that's fun. That's fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, but yeah, that's the Tayrathi Classic 2022. I can't wait for next year, but remains to be seen. It will be in December again. Probably, hopefully earlier December.
Hmm.
Maybe the first week of December. I think at the latest would be more ideal. Just to
Hmm.
make it easier. But yeah, I kind of like it being our Christmas gathering.
Absolutely, I loved it.
Yeah. So I guess to everyone out there, because I'm out of things to say about how great the event was at that I didn't invite you to if you're listening.
Hmm.
um, sorry, there's only so much space, but everyone out there, I hope you have a Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or whatever it is that you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate anything, enjoy your Friday.
And I'm Abraham Lincoln.